All right, before we delve into the world of sports, let's talk money. And of course, we'll be talking about making money from content writing. And we have in the studio Adedakwa Adesanya, a content writer. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So talk to us about content writing. What does it entail?
Okay, content writing has to do with writing. Basically, if you maybe writing thesis, writing content, what people basically read, what people basically use every day. And that's sort of like a layman's understanding of what content writing is. But content writing goes beyond just writing. It is a business.
Okay.
It is a business because people say, oh, I write this, but they do not make money from it. So, and that's why they just relax. But if you make money from it, then you can say, oh, I'm a content writer.
Okay, so it means that it's not just a hobby, you can make money from it.
Yes.
So what are different aspects of content writing that you can make money from?
Okay, there are a lot of places you can make money from. You can make money from academic writing, you can make money from creative writing, you can make money from even production. There are people that say, oh, I have this script, I have this idea, they just give you like a rough sketch.
Okay.
And then you, since it's what you do on a daily basis, you connect the threads and then you sew up a piece of clothing, which is in form of the content you're giving out there.
Okay, talking about, I mean, you said earlier that there's a difference between just writing and content writing because content writing is business. So to be able to write to the point where you can sell or make it marketable to earn, money, what are the required skills for writing? Because from what you've said, it's obvious that the content writing is different from just the casual way of writing.
Well, before you can become a content writer, you must be able to write because that's the basics. You must have the foundation. You must have laid that foundation. And content writing is ability to turn that flair that you have. Oh, maybe just like a photographer that goes around walking on the streets, he or she's creating content. But once he or she monetizes that, you can say, oh, I'm in the photography business. So it's just the same. I can draw that parallel with writing. I pick my writing. Oh, I've been writing this, but then I find out that, oh, I charge this amount of money and I can deliver it. So it goes beyond just, it's about having a structure. Oh, this is it. I can turn this, whatever you want, into something tangible, something people can read. And, oh, I do it for one person. I'm like, oh, who did this for you? That's it. So that chain continues. So I think once you can convert that passion into a commodity, then...
So basically it requires no training in that sense?
It does not. It does not. Anybody can be a content writer. It's just, you must know how to write.
Then monetize? Then
you monetize.
So you don't need to get trained to hone your skills?
You can get trained. It's important
you get trained.
You should get trained. And you should train yourself if you cannot afford to go to a training school. I'll take myself as an example. It started as a passion for me. I would read and then I'll try to interpret it in my own way. And I found that, oh, help me with this, help me with that. Then I thought, oh, I delivered this. They tell someone else, like, oh, I can actually do this every day. So I do that a lot. Then one thing again is, I thought myself, like, oh, I must get the necessary things. So it goes beyond just writing. That's like the foundation. You must also have all your equipment. You must make sure that you're versed in what you are working about. If they give you a topic like, oh, commerce, for example, and you have zero idea about commerce, you must be willing to invest in materials that teach about commerce. So it may be digital, you go on YouTube, you learn, you read books. So these are the trainings you need. You must read, you must invest in technology, and as well as just read.
Okay, earlier you said, equipment, and I'm wondering what equipment when it comes to content writing beyond probably the system and, it's a creative process, it just flows.
Well, equipment, you must, one thing about me is you must consume everything and anything.
Okay.
Imagine you go to the barbecue stand, the suya stand, and they sell you the meat in the newspaper. As you're eating, you can just read through. Who knows what that idea might use, what you can use that idea for in the future.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I say equipment. And then again, you also watch films, you listen to music, you must invest in other things.
Okay.
Like you go to museums, you look at pictures, you just
But aren't there tools you need? For instance, the final draft used for script writing and all of that.
Yes.
Talk to us about that.
Okay. You need software equipment. You need to there are English correcting softwares, grammar correcting, Grammarly. So these are equipments that you invest in. You also need tools. You need headphones, noise cancelling headphones, good computer. We all know how the electricity situation is, so you have to invest in a good energy source.
Okay.
I'm more of a renewable energy kind of person, so inverter, solar energy alternatives that you can use.
Amazing. But talk to us about the challenges of content writing, especially in a climate like Nigeria. When it comes to monetizing something that is creative, you know, a lot of people will tell you, why should I pay for that?
Okay. Well, there is no profession that does not have its challenges. Content writing is not exempted. When it comes to content writing, one thing I'm peculiar about is I'm giving you my best. So that is non-negotiable. Without it, that doesn't mean there are no challenges. Even not on the part of the client, even on the part of you as the writer, there are times where you suffer writer's block, where nothing is making sense. Yeah. So you just have to maybe close shop for that day and just go and relax. So there are other challenges where I mentioned earlier, the electricity situation. It's damaging. There are days at which there won't be electricity. There won't be power for a long time. So that means you're losing time. And also it's the constraint that comes with time. Most people work with deadlines to turn in their work. And in content writing, deadlines sometimes may not favor you. Maybe when they're pursuing for that deadline is when you are going through your own personal things. And there's also the personal feelings. I'm a person that works on my mood. I'll try to be happy, but there are sometimes that whenever I'm too happy, nothing comes. There are sometimes when I'm too sad, nothing comes. So I have to find an equilibrium.
Balance.
About intellectual theft. Sorry.
Yes, that's a very critical one. I am very peculiar about that. I do not practice intellectual theft. I always ensure that everything I do, I could put them through the IP checking system. So that means you have to read from scratch. You have to citations. You have to go through many rigorous processes before you can deliver
a good work. What I'm even asking is a situation where the intellectual theft is against you. You have your creative work. Someone who plagiarizes and tries to own it as theirs. How do you address that?
I've personally not experienced that, but it's a very dangerous thing. It's one thing that we've been clamoring for, to have a strong copyright infrastructure. That I can publish this, and when it is flagged, but you find out that it's not very strong in the country. But it's over in. But
you have it. There's a law system that protects intellectual property, patent to your work and all of that.
Yeah, there is that system. But the major problem is, how is it enforced? You cannot compare the enforcement techniques here compared to there in the UK. So let me tell a personal story. I did a job for someone in the University of Essex, and I had to, the amount of rigor I put into it was more than what I do for a lax system like Nigeria. So I think another thing that it does,
you made it watertight to avoid
because the system
lawsuits and all of that.
There's a comparative, a very difficult system over there compared to here in Nigeria.
Especially when it comes to copyright issues.
Because the littlest errors, you are flagged for malpractice over there. But here, even your supervisors or the people you're submitting don't really, they just want it.
So talking about writer's block, I'm interested in knowing what you do personally when you experience writer's block, especially when you have to deliver a project.
Okay, if I am suffering writer's block that I know it's irredeemable, that it's long term, because writer's block occurs on various frequencies. When it's long term, I just tell my client that I'm sorry, I won't be able to deliver this at this time. But I'm not saying one other thing you do is, I don't know, maybe I can say you have to sometimes adjust. You tell them, oh, I'm on it, and you know you've not started it, but
maybe extend the time
and try to get yourself out of that mode.
Yes, that's
so what do you do when you're in that foul mode? You take
I
a
listen
walk?
to music. One thing is I disassociate myself from the work.
Okay.
When I disassociate myself from work, I try to invest that time in something else.
Okay.
Maybe watch a movie, do something else, then or relax or sleep. Yeah, that's very critical.
Okay.
Sleep is very important. If you do creative work, you need that rest. So when I go for that leisure period, and there's a 90% chance that I'm going to finish that work.
Let's look at investigative journalism in Nigeria. Of course, that includes writing too. In fact, majorly involves writing. You see people like David Hundeyin, investigative journalists who had to go into hiding because of some of the investigative works they've done. Do you think that the Nigerian climate supports or encourages this kind of work, especially when it comes to writing stories that reveal some of the dirty works that some of the political bigwigs have been into?
I see it as a necessity. The country needs it because there are so many loopholes that they should look into. But the problem with it is, are we ready for the truth? Once this thing is exposed, are we sure that we are not going to be part of people mentioned? And that's one of the reasons why people are always scared, like, oh, this person is, because whether we like it or not, one or two of us are a lot of people are beneficiaries of corruption. And when you uncover one, they start naming. So it has a ripple effect. So it's a necessity, and I want it to. I pray it's something that continues.
Yeah, I'm just saying that our writers encouraged to go into that aspect.
But you have to consider,
you see a lot of them going into hiding.
Yes.
You see, what's that other one's name?
Fisayo
Soyombo. They do a lot of investigation and then they put it into writing, and then the next thing is they have to go into hiding.
Yeah, I think
our writers were encouraged.
I don't see it's more like encouraged. I see it more as a need, societal need. I'm still going to go. They don't need to encourage it. It's what they should do. When you pick up writing, you pick up the good and the bad sides of it. There is no cherry picking. Oh, I only want to do this part of writing. It is more like it's like a social contract you build with yourself and the society, especially in journalism. You say, oh, as the Constitution says, Section 18, Section 22 says, it's our role as the mass media to do this. So once we pick that profession up, we have to pick with it the good, the bad, and of course the ugly. The ugly is that they have to, but they are doing it for a common good.
What's the average cost, or how do you price?
How do you price?
A piece
People
of
have
work?
various pricing mechanisms, but the best way to price, if you are doing like an essay, is you count the words, and then you multiply. I think there's a rate. There's a rate. It depends on
individual.
How do you do it?
How do I do it? Most of the people I write for are people that are close to me, so I don't really
charge.
But then it's often you can do 5 to 6 figures in the naira.
Okay.
Depends on the weight of the work.
The weight of the work.
Yes.
Okay.
So is it like a part-time? Do you see these as a writing as a part-time job, or something that you should put the whole of your time into?
If I have the luxury of it, I will put 100% of my time in it. But there are other things that need my attention. So for me, it's a it's a passive income.
Okay.
But other people out there, they do it full time as a means of sustenance. And that's incredibly good. I wish it's something I can do, but I have other passion that I'm pursuing. So it's something I do on the side.
Okay.
So it's something I'm willing to like keep on the side while I chase other goals.
Things. Okay.
So you mentioned earlier that the reading culture is one of the ways to improve your writing. But
Yes.
in a climate like Africa, not just Nigeria, where the reading culture isn't really up there, how do you think the average Nigerian who wants to go into writing can help boost his or her, reading culture?
Okay. Everything starts with the passion I mentioned.
Okay.
One thing they should do first is look at what interests them. Then they start reading things in that field.
Okay.
Once they start reading from that field, once they say, oh, this field is interesting, they want to go to
Other fields.
So take me, for example, I started with sports. I started reading sports material. And I'm like, oh, this isn't challenging for me. I started reading philosophical books. And then I started picking up economical books. And like that, historical books. So, before you know it, you start from one, and then you, like the ripple effect.
How does the process run in your head? Is it from research to writing to checking up how true a story is and all of that? How does the process run?
It works like this. Once they give me what they want, of course, I'm multifaceted. I have an idea of one or two of things. When they tell me what they want, if it's not something I have a good stronghold on, I'll go and read extensively. I do more like skimming. Oh, this, get the basics of it. Then start putting words and words together. And you also read what people have done. You cannot read a full-length material due to the time, so you just skim through.
Okay. Talk to us about some sites where you can fact-check words or stories or reports that before you put them out there.
Make Google Scholar your complice. It's a good source of reading other people's work. The other fact-checking instruments, I can't mention some from the top of my head at the moment, but
I know you have to pay to subscribe
yes,
to
you have
some.
to pay, and that's one of the major disadvantages.
How is it a disadvantage?
No, for people that want to go into it, because I don't have this money, but for people that do it, that want to really do it, they must be willing to put their all their investment.
Because it's important. You don't want to put a damaging story out there without having the
it's just like people who love watching movies, but they don't want to pay for the movies, so they go to all these piracy websites and go dead movies from there. So, but you might have passion for something, but you may not see the need to invest in that thing.
So generally, writing, how lucrative is it?
Wow. Over the years, it has been a poor man's thing, but I'm bullish on the profession with our education gap increasing, with people diversifying in pursuing education, because I'm not a believer that it's only school you can be educated in. You can. So with that interest, that scope widening, it's getting there. So one thing is for the people that will create the market share, because it's like a large market. So people should look for what will, and there are also companies that are cropping up every day, taking in content writers. So it's a lucrative.
Okay. Beyond the issue of reading and expanding one's knowledge base, what other tips will you give to someone who wants to delve into content writing? Okay,
if you want to do content writing, you must be willing to be patient. Yeah, it's a patient endeavor. It's not something you just rush into. You have to be careful. Another thing, you must be ethical. Yeah. If you're not an ethical person, you will fall by the roadside.
What are some of the ethics?
Punctuality. You must know how to deal. You must be patient, like I mentioned. You must also know how to deal with human beings. People will frustrate you. You have sometimes the entitlement culture jumps out from your client. Like, I did this. I'm like, no. You must be able to. It's a business. You must be able to deal with the client.
So
you
also negotiate.
You must be able to negotiate. So, but I'm standing on that ethics. You must know your right from your left.
Okay.
Plagiarism and all that comes in.
Okay, that's a fine place to wrap this up. Thank you so much for your time on the show.
Thank you very much.
That was Adidakwa Adesoya, a content writer. They're putting us through the ropes of content writing and how to monetize it. We'll go on a short break now. When we return, it's our time to keep you updated from sports. Please to stay with us.